Gananam tva ganapatim havamahe kavim kavinamupamastravastamam Jyeshtarajam brahmanam brahmanaspata shrunvannotibhisi dasadanam Om Shri Mahaganadhipataye Namah Om Vrishabham Charshaninam Vishwarupamadabhyam Brihaspatim Varenyam Om Tadvishno Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surayah Divi Vachakshuratatam Om Shri Mahalakshmiyai Namah Om Shlim Bhim Jyotir Brahmaya Namah. And everybody say Hare Ramakrishna 3 times. Om Hare Ramakrishna Hare Ramakrishna Hare Ramakrishna. We will actually add one more mantra. We will do 3 times. I'll say once, I'll repeat 3 times. You also say with me. Om Aim Gam Vagganapataye Namah. 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 Okay, we will continue the Dasa unless you have any chart that you want to see before we proceed.
The question I have is July time frame,
Yeah.
July 19th.
Yeah.
Whoever is born having Saturn, Venus, Ketu in a Leo, most of the
Right.
so that means week something before Saturn Venus Ketu combination is kind of Tapasvi Yoga.
Right.
So do you think most of the people will have that kind of yoga?
A lot of people with Tapas Yoga would have been born during that time. Especially, not everybody, just Saturn, Venus, Ketu being together is not Tapas Yoga. Being together in Lagna or in a trine, that will be auspicious. Even if they are in the 8th house or 12th house, I will consider it very auspicious. So, there will be some people who will be born. But the thing is, if you look at the Navamsa, Vimshamsa, Dasamsa, etc., you can know whether that doesn't necessarily mean spiritual. It only means somebody who is passionate about some kind of disciplined pursuit of something. So it could be a researcher, it could be a spiritualist, it could be anybody. So you should look at the Vimshamsa, you should look at the other divisional charts to be sure. But it is an auspicious time. And especially actually, you said June 19 or July 19. There is actually, I just want to mention one thing. October 13 is a very, very interesting day because on that day, they will be so together within like 1 degree, for me? 24 degrees or 12 degree, 11 degree area I thought. Around the 11th degree I thought. But wherever, one second, actually we can check. Basically it's another month from now. October 13. Oops. October 13, basically, yeah, they are in the 11th degree. If you take October 13 afternoon, for example, Ketu is at 10 degree 33 minutes, Venus is at 10 degree 39 minutes, Saturn is at 10 degree 53 minutes. So basically, within an arc of 20 arc minutes, which is 1/3 of a degree, you have all the 3 planets. Usually 3 planet conjunctions are interesting, rare. 3 planets within such a small orb is extremely rare. And that too it happens for the 3 planets who give Tapas Yoga. So it is very interesting. Of course it is also, it could result in some bad events, mundane events. This is not really a great combination. This is a great combination in individual charts only for tapasya, not really for material success, etc. Because Venus is the planet of harmony. He is the planet of Jalatattva. And Ketu is the planet of, Saturn is the planet of depletion. And Ketu is the planet of explosion. So, they basically rob.
So, the Vayu and Jala is combination is not.
Well, Saturn is Vayu, Ketu is kind of fire.
Yeah, and also Venus is the Jala.
Venus is Jala.
So, So all three have different.
Right. Moreover, Venus is basically, he shows plentifulness, whereas Saturn and Ketu are depleting it. They are basically destroying. They are destructive, and whoever they are with, they destroy that tattva. Whatever is shown by the other planet, if they are with Jupiter or Sun, whoever it is, you can basically say this is the area. And Venus, what does he show? Venus is the planet of peace, passion, harmony. On one end it is passion, but if you basically tone it down, it's basically harmony. So harmony, peace, all these things are shown by Venus. So this is not a great combination for the world. There can be some bad events for the world, but that is basically besides the point. The point I wanted to make is, for those who are interested in spiritual sadhana, that is a great time, and moreover that happens during the Navratras, which are a great time to do sadhana, especially if you are interested in the Divine Mother. That's a great time to do sadhana. So that particular day is a very interesting day, and luckily it happens to be a weekend, not a weekday when you have to take vacation from your work. So you could basically do something special on that day, do a lot of sadhana, spend the whole day meditating or whatever. It will be very beneficial. Basically, sadhana done on particular days is basically more potent than some other days. It can result in something faster than other days. So that's a very good day to take advantage of. Okay, so I would say the whole day, yeah, or plus minus one day, but basically that day is the peak.
I was reading that Roy chart.
Okay.
July 19, he has Scorpio Lagna,
Okay.
Jupiter in Lagna.
Yeah.
And
Okay. So the thing is, this is happening in the 10th house. The 4th Lord, the 7th Lord, the Lagna Lord being in the 10th house. So it's not really any Raj Yoga. If it is Scorpio Lagna, there isn't any special Raj Yoga between those planets, and they are in the 10th house. So
family tradition is very. His father had his grandfather came with the chart, and they have a family of like people becoming weird after some few years or something. They are mentally unstable, but they are very traditional. So family, and they are very traditional people. And he had a feeling that that's why also like this.
well, let us see the chart later to be more specific. But the thing is, it doesn't really, Saturn, Venus and Ketu being in any house is not really Tapasvi Yoga.
It has to be in 12th house, right?
For me, it can be a Moksha Trikona or it can be a trine.
He is a Kanya Rashi, so it's close from.
Oh, okay, then it is of immense interest. If Saturn, Venus and Ketu are closely conjoined in the 12th from Moon, it is of great interest. So that could show spirituality. That shows spirituality.
Grandfather had some knowledge about that, that's why he came.
That does show somebody very spiritual. But what I was going to say is, had I not known about Moon, just based on Lagna, these planets being in the 10th house, these Saturn and Ketu, it does show some spiritual karmas. Basically, whether he does sadhana or not, doing big spiritual activities like doing big homas or doing big pujas, organizing big things in the society, that is a strong possibility. But the fact that they are in the 12th from Moon is also very interesting. So my gut feeling is he will be spiritual and he will be doing some big karmas relating to spirituality. Whether he will benefit materially or not is a different matter. So we'll see that chart later. That does sound interesting. And Jupiter in Lagna is a great blessing against going mad or going crazy, like you said, which you said runs in his family. Jupiter in Lagna is a great blessing. It's always a Sri Ram Raksha. It's like protective force. Pardon me? He is a benefic. Yeah, 5th Lord. He is the 5th Lord of Purvapunja. Moreover, he is a natural benefic, of course functional benefic here, and he is Jupiter, the Karaka of intelligence. So when he sits in Lagna, it shows intelligence, it should protect him against going to any extremes.
I have one more question.
Yeah?
What is the subtle difference between religiousness and spirituality?
Yeah. See, that is actually not really an astrological question, that is a general question. So the question is, what is the difference between religiousness and spirituality?
Because the reason I am asking is because when you look at some chart,
Yeah.
with say sometimes religious, or the ninth lord reflected,
Yeah.
you will say possibly religious, or ninth and eighth lord combination, you say.
Yeah, you are saying from yeah.
Correct. So, but
Right.
the
See, the
when
thing
I
is,
was analyzing this,
what is religion? What is spirituality? Okay. Now, what is spirituality? What is the spirit? Spirit is basically the soul that is within you. The Brahman that pervades all is the spirit. And spirituality is understanding that. Understanding the Brahman that pervades all is basically spirituality. And it's not just a one stage thing basically. It's not a one step thing where you say, okay, now I am spiritual. Basically, the spiritual evolution of a person, it happens in many stages. First somebody thinks, oh, I am this body, I have to take good care of this body, I have to be beautiful, people have to think I am beautiful, I am smart, I am this, I am that. So there is strong identification with something that is fake, something that is very, very transient. Then the identification improves. As the person, see, the perfectly spiritual being, a perfectly spiritual being fully identifies with Brahman. He is always identifying with Brahman and nothing else. He doesn't even say, I am so and so person, I had so and so life in the past life, so I was so and so being in the past life, I am so and so being in this life, these are my runas, I have fulfilled all the runas, I am done. He won't even talk in those terms. For him there is no I. There is no I, or there is no you, there is no he, there is no she. So he is basically, he or she only sees Brahman in all. So that is basically the highest state. Now, reaching that higher state from where we normally are is not a one-step process, it's a multi-step process. So in the beginning you may slowly identify less with the body, you may realize that there is something else inside, a soul, and then maybe after you progress further, you may even recall your previous life, I was so and so person in the life, I have a runa with this person, let me fulfill that runa. So all the karmas that are pulling you down, you may actually do something to burn those karmas, you may progress further. But the thing is, eventually, until you identify with Brahman, until you don't have any identification with any entity in this universe except Brahman, which is all, not one. Until then, your spiritual evolution is still continuing. So, I will say the definition of spirituality is to find the true self, which is Brahman. Now, what is religion? Religion is a tool in basically making this journey. Spirituality is not really a journey. It is basically, I will say,
it's a destination.
It's a destination. But normally we use the word I am spiritual in the sense I am basically pursuing that goal. Right. So that is why we normally don't use the word spiritual in that connotation. The connotation you use in is, for me? Yeah. They have all the weaknesses of the Maya basically. Yeah. So the thing is, okay, so let us define spiritual as somebody who is interested in Brahman, somebody who at least realizes, doesn't realize Brahman fully, but realizes that there is something to be realized.
Something to seek of truth.
Pardon me? Yeah, somebody like who seeks truth, the true self, somebody who seeks the true self, which is basically the spirit. That is the meaning of spirit. Spirit means Atma, spiritual means Atmagnani. And even if you are not Atmagnani, you are searching for Atmagnana, the knowledge of self, then I will say you are a spiritual person. That is the definition of spiritual person as far as I am concerned. You could define any way you want, but that is the standard definition. Now, what is religious? There are so many religions that help you find God. You basically impose so many rules on yourself. You put so many yamas, niyamas. Every day I will wake up at so and so time. Every day morning I will do Chandi Homa, or every day morning I will do 10 malas of Gayatri, or every morning I will decide one chapter from Quran. Whatever your principle, or every Sunday I will go to church and spend 2 hours listening to Bible or listening to a discourse on Bible. You basically put some rules that have been laid out by hopefully some spiritually advanced people, so that a continued practice of those things, continuous practice of those rituals or those procedures eventually helps you reach the goal, become more spiritual. So with that intent, somebody basically set up some rules. So religion is rule based. You have certain set of rules which somebody thought at some point of time will help you become more spiritual. That is why those rules were invented by somebody. But it doesn't necessarily work that way. The rules basically become so dry, so superficial that people don't realize the meaning of the rule, realize the intent and purport behind the rule. When the rule was originally invented by somebody or coined or formed by somebody, they just blindly follow the rule without understanding anything. Then that person may not really be spiritual. He is religious. He is basically following certain rules. He thinks this is my duty. He is doing his duty very sincerely. But he is not getting any closer to God. He is not getting any closer to his true nature, his true self. So that would be an example. But the thing is, most people, though not 100%, a majority of the people who follow some religion blindly over a period of time, eventually they will get to some level of spirituality. On the other hand, there are people who are spiritual who don't really follow any religion, who don't really believe in any specific religion, but they instinctively understand that there is a God who is controlling everything, and then they become close to him through their thoughts and actions rather than the principles that they obey. But that is more difficult. It is better to follow some religion or the other.
Then what does religiousness mean? Because religious means, from this definition, not following the set of rules.
Right.
That's not bad either.
No, not being religious is not bad. It's definitely not a bad thing.
Then astrologically, what is 8th lord?
See, the thing is, 9th house is important for religion. But when you talk about spirituality, 9th house is not really, it is only the start. 9th house, if 9th house is very strong, it doesn't show a very religious, spiritually elevated being. When you are talking about a spiritually elevated being, Lagna, 8th house, 12th house are far more important. 12th house is the final house of spirituality. It is the moksha sthana. Spirituality, the goal of spirituality is moksha, not dharma, moksha. To basically let yourself go, to give up the concept of all normal concepts of self. Because the final concept of self that I mentioned is basically something so subtle that if you actually reach that concept, it means you have given up all concepts of self. It can be reached only, it is like you have onion, you keep on peeling off various layers. Only when all the layers have been peeled off, you find the core, which is the true Brahman. So, if you basically get to the concept of self as Brahman, it doesn't mean you are clinging on to some concept. It means you have actually let all concepts go. All conditioning of the mind as I am this body, I am this soul, I am this, I am that, all those concepts are completely eliminated. Then only you have basically realized self. So the thing is, 12th, that is why 12th house shows moksha, not even 8th house. 8th house only shows sadhana. But 12th house is the house of moksha. No other house. 9th house being strong doesn't mean you will get moksha. Only 12th house, if it has Ketu, if it has other auspicious influences, then only you are basically you are qualified to make some progress towards moksha or even get moksha. Vimshamsa is actually the 8th house based chart. So it is basically the effort that you are putting. The 8th house is a moksha trikona, it's not a dharma trikona. So it is actually the chart of spirituality, the spiritual evolution. But for most people, the spiritual evolution starts with following some religion, following some religious rituals, or adhering to some religious principles. For most people, not all. Somebody may just wake up one day, he is wondering, who am I? Sunday, one day, things are revealed to him. Just because when she really wants to give you knowledge, based on whatever you have done, not in this life, but whatever you have done over many lives, if she really wants to grant you the knowledge of self, it's a split second for her. There is no apparent reason. It can just happen. So somebody can just realize that the transient nature of everything that is manifested. He may have done some sadhana. He may have followed some religion also in a previous life. So,
Ramana Maharshi is one.
For me, Ramana Maharshi, yeah. He just woke up one day. He just realized, what happens when I actually die? He just pretended that he was dying. He just became like a like a kastha, like a wood. He became, and then he experienced certain thing, he experienced something else, and then that triggered off something, and then he was just immersed in thinking for so many years after that. He just ran away from home, he just sat in a remote place, he just kept thinking. He just consumed very little food, somebody was serving him food, and then in a few years he was known as Maharishi. So he didn't really follow any religion, and if you see his chart, it will be interesting. See, the thing is, when I say somebody may be religious or irreligious, don't take it as a good or bad thing. If the ninth lord is in 8th house or something, if the person is not quite religious, it's not a bad thing from the point of spirituality.
It's a bad thing. I'm saying it's actually good.
Yes, it may be good. Absolutely. It may, well, just because somebody is not religious doesn't mean it is good. It may be good or bad. You look at the moksha trikonas. Dhamma trikonas being hammered shows certain things. But whether that means the person is actually getting moksha or not, look at the moksha trikonas further. Look at the 8th and 12th further.
Maybe non-religion may cause more problems than...
Pardon me? Yeah.
Relationship is...
See, the thing is, Ramakrishna Paramahansa used to say, there is learned Maya, there is unlearned, ignorant Maya. Vidya Maya, Avidya Maya, he used to say. Maya means illusion. Whatever we see and feel and sense, whatever our senses basically show us in this universe is all illusion. So knowledge of astrology, thinking that planets are influencing us, and thinking that this knowledge helps you help people, thinking that a remedy basically helps you, thinking that not preventing a particular event and getting another so-called good event is actually a benefit. All this is Maya only. All this is an illusion. At the same time, thinking I should dominate that person is dominating me, I should go and kill him, that is also illusion. So at one level there is no difference between all these. Between wanting to kill somebody because you don't like them, or wanting to teach somebody astrology because it's a good subject, not really much difference at one level. But both are Maya, but one is learned Maya, one is unlearned Maya. One is tamasic, one is sattvic. But all gunas are only clothes that you have to shed at one time. If you want to purify yourself and remove all the conditioning, each guna has to be shed off, including sattva. So from that point of view, all is Maya. But he used to say, if you have to leave one Maya, if you want to go above one Maya at a time, go above Avidya Maya first. If you are basically surrounded in Vidya Maya, it is easier to let it go at one point of time. Whereas if you are surrounded by Avidya Maya completely, it is tough to let it go. It basically clings on to you more strongly. So from that point of view, it's actually not a bad idea to be religious. And another thing is, really spiritually fully realized people, there is no rule that they will be religious also. Just to be clear, if you take rishis like Vasishtha, Vishwamitra, all these people, they were quite religious, even though they realized that these are all superficial things. They don't really matter. Suppose you are doing a puja, what if you are wearing dirty clothes, or what if you are wearing a clean clothes? But if you, for example, if you go to a good Vedic ceremony or something, for example, the next week Maharudram, if I want to come in dirty clothes and be a Ritvik and read Rudram, of course they won't let me do that. They will say you have to come in clean clothes. It's just symbolic. The real important thing is whether Shiva is happy with my recital of Rudram or not. That depends on the purity of my soul, the purity of my consciousness. If that purity is not there, however pure clothes I am wearing has no relevance at all. Similarly, if I am wearing the cleanest, new, brilliant clothes, but if my consciousness is having all kinds of dirty thoughts, again, I am not going to make Shiva pleased. Shiva himself, he is in a smashana. He is naked. He has all the ashes basically smeared on his body. He doesn't really care about all these things. But when you are praying to him using a Vedic ceremony, the rule that they put is you have to wear clean clothes. There are certain rules. You have to take bath before, you have to do Sandhya Vandanam, you have to do this, that. So because people cannot ensure the internal purity of whoever is coming, the Ritviks who are performing various rituals, they just ensure the external purity, because at least that you can see with your physical eyes. The other one only you can see with your divya chakshu, not with the physical chakshus. So people So this is all superficial. But the thing is, those who are fully learned, what they do is, they are like I said earlier, they are like a fan that has been rotating. The electricity has been cut off, but the fan continues to rotate until they leave the body. So if a rishi comes into a body for some purpose, he takes a body, comes back into this world in the Kali Yuga. Until he leaves the body, first he will be in Maya, then he will come out of the Maya, he will realize self, and after he realizes self, he will be like a fan that is still rotating based on the Purva Vasanas. So what will he do? Well, it depends on what the Purva Vasanas that he took when coming into this body are. One self-realized person may be fighting a war like Arjuna after listening to Gita from Sri Krishna. Another self-realized person may be running a country like Vasishtha and giving all kinds of punishments to people, including death, capital punishment, etc., like Vasishtha. Another self-realized person may be besides a gutter outside a temple and then sharing food with a dog. There may be food from the garbage can, he may be sharing it with the guard and not caring about anything else. There may be another self-realized person who is performing yajnas, homas, big yajnas, going around and telling people, do Rajsu yajna, do this yajna, do that yajna. He may be spreading that. Another self-realized person may be spreading astrological knowledge. It all depends on who the person is, what karmas the person had before he became realized. So there is no thumb rule basically. So being religious or being religious is neither a necessary nor a sufficient condition, or the reverse of it, as far as being spiritual or being self-realized is concerned. Now what is Drugdasha? What does it show? It is actually the progression of the 9th house. And you can say 9th house is religion, but the highest meaning of 9th house is God's light. And moreover, Drug means vision. So we are basically talking about the ray of light passing. And also if you look at Jaimini's verse on that, we have seen Parasara's verses earlier. Jaimini also mentioned Drugdasha. What he said, I believe, is Kujadi Trikuta Padakramena Drugdasha. That is Jaimini's aphorism, Jaimini's sutram. I think it's in the second chapter, 2.4, second part, the 4th adhyaya, the verse number I forgot, something in 20s I believe, 21 or so. So the verse is Kujadi Trikuta Padakramena Drugdasha. Starting from the 9th, Kuja means 9th in the Kartayadi coding. Starting from the 9th, Trikuta, in groups of 3, starting from the 9th, in groups of 3, Padakramena. Padakramena was interpreted by Sanjayji as the Padakrama basically, based on the Ojapada, Samapada. But Pada, another meaning of Pada is, apart from foot, another meaning is the ray of light that helps you see things. So Padakramena, it also means the third eye, the place between the eyebrows. That is also another meaning of Pada. So Padakramena means in the order of the passing of the ray of light is Drugdasha. So we are talking about a Dasha of vision. Drug means vision. So no wonder Pada means the passing of the ray of light. So the storehouse of light in your chart is 9th house. It is God's light that is falling, that will help you in all your activities. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, everything. That is the guidance. That is God's light. And the light basically, just as why am I able to see Seshu right now? Some light is falling on him, it's reflecting and coming to my eyes. So seeing is nothing but reflection of light from one thing to another thing to another, and so on. So Drugdasha is basically tracing how the light travels with time, how the light of God, and reflects on various things and makes them visible. That is basically the philosophical meaning of it. So even though it is starting from the 9th house, it is not just a Dasha of Dharma. It is basically the Dasha of how God's light is helping you see. What is the real purpose of God's light? To see yourself. So from that point of view, even the real purpose of religion is to see your true self. That is the real purpose. So anyway, so to summarize, Drugdasha shows religious activities as well as the spiritual progress that results from those religious activities. Okay. Any other questions?
Do you want to see the charts of before in the class?
Yeah, sure. First, let me just go do a couple of examples that I wanted to do in a class. I will eventually see all your charts. I will definitely see it. But to see, the thing is, when we see your charts, there may not, some things may not really stand out. The charts may be ordinary. I'm not saying you are ordinary people. You may be, for all you know, all of you may be really great people, for great sages, for example. So I don't really, but we will see. But they may or may not be able to illustrate the concept. So if we take the charts of people who did have important events, epoch-making spiritual events in their lives, it will basically, the concepts will become clear. So I want to continue some more examples. For me?
You have the directory which you had.
Ah, excellent.
Or you can change this if you don't have.
No, he says we have, so I trust him. I trust him more than you. You don't even know where they are.
They should be where you put
Okay,
them.
okay. I'm just kidding, sis. I only like pulling your leg. I think my confidence may be misplaced. No pressure.
In my case, there's nothing like confidence. It is where you put them.
I wouldn't remember. It's your computer.
I didn't move anything to
I put the same directory which creates Jyotish.
Okay. Oh, you want to see where the executable is then?
Yeah. No,
Why don't we?
Okay, go ahead.
What I suggest
Program,
is,
I think the
one sec. Let's see. You said, yeah, properties of the icon. So it's in program file Jyotisha Drugdasa. Where is the here? Okay. See program files Jyotisha Drugdasa. Bin. So you are saying it is in Drugdasa charts. Excellent. Okay. So what are the charts that we saw? I think in the class we saw, in the seminar we saw Chandrasekhar Saraswati Swamigal. We saw Jaina Saraswati also we saw, right?
Swami Shivananda, I think, right? We haven't seen that.
Yeah, I'll see Shivananda. Have we seen Arvindo Ghosh? We did.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Yes, I think we did. Let's see Swami Shivananda. Don't say it. So we'll see the chart of Swami Shivananda of Rishikesh. He is the one who established Divine Life Society, right? Is that the right name? I think so. Yeah, DLS. And if you go to dlshq.org, HQ I think stands for headquarters, you can see his detailed biography. He's on the current Swamiji. So the birth data is 1887, September 8, 4:16 a.m. The time zone is 5 hours 11 minutes east of GMT. That must be the local mean time. 5 hours 11 minutes east of GMT. The longitude is 77 degrees 40 minutes. The latitude is 8 degrees 48 minutes north. 77 degrees 40 minutes east, 8 degrees 48 minutes north. Unfortunately, I don't know the name of the place, but it does sound like it's in south, way south. Yeah, 77 degrees means something like Kerala, Karnataka border, Tamil Nadu, that border.
They talk about his birthplace name.
Yeah, if you go to dlshq.org, I think you can find out where he was born. Unfortunately, I didn't do that. So, he has Lagna in the Aslesha 4th Pada, 28 degrees 14 minutes Cancer. You use Lahiri? Yes. Okay. And Moon is at 22 degrees 41 minutes Aries. Okay. So let us see Drugdasa. To start from Pisces, of course. And from 87 to 96 is Pisces Dasa. From 96 to 1905 is Sagittarius Dasa. From 1905 to 1914 is Virgo Dasa. From 1914 to 1923 is Gemini Dasa. And then we are moving to 10th house. Aries Dasa is from 1923 September till 1930 September. This was the Dasa that turned things around. Until 1923, he was a successful doctor in Malaysia or Singapore, one of those. Malaysia, right? In Malaysia, he had a practice there. He was a medical doctor. He was very successful, and the website says that he used to like luxurious goods. He used to wear nice gems, nice rings, nice chains, and then he used to have, his home used to have nice luxurious goods. So he was interested in luxuries of the life. And then somebody gave him some book written by some sadhu about spirituality, and then that got him interested in spirituality. And I believe in 1923 or 1924, I think 1924. Unfortunately, I had the cheat sheet where I noted the events when I came for the seminar, but I don't have it in my wallet right now. I displayed it somewhere. So if we go to the website, you can verify the date. But around that time frame, I think 1924, that is when he came to India. He visited India, and then he decided, let me renounce this world, let me become a sannyasi. He just like that he decided. And then he went to North India. He went on a tour to North India, and when he was in Rishikesh or maybe Varanasi, somewhere in North India, one Swamiji came to him and said, okay, the time has come, I'll give you Diksha. He said, okay, fine, I'll take Diksha. It was so simple. He took Diksha from him, and then he spent several years in intense tapasya. He was doing immense sadhana, and he also spent a lot of time doing seva to various patients. There, being a medical doctor, he basically took care of their health problems, and people with kushtu and other diseases, he basically cleaned their bodies, cleaned their legs, shampooed and massaged their legs. Like that, he took care of people, and also he spent a lot of time in a hut that was infested by snakes and scorpions. He basically sat down there, and then he did sadhana. I mean, if you really believe that all is Brahman, of course scorpion is also Brahman, and if scorpion bites you, the poison that enters you is also Brahman. If you really are thinking in those terms, poison does nothing to you. Fire does nothing to you. Nothing does nothing to you, if you are really thinking that way. But if the division comes in your mind, the duality comes, oh, this is poison, this kills. The moment it comes, of course it becomes poison. So if you really want to test yourself, saying something in a class like this is one thing, actually doing it is another, quite another. So he actually did it. He did intense tapasya, and then his website claims that he actually experienced Nirvikalpa Samadhi. They don't give the date, but in this 1927 time frame, around 1927 or so, after a few years of intense sadhana, they claim that he experienced Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Savikalpa Samadhi is where you still have a seed of I. That may be, it may not be like Narasimha or Vijay, it may be like you identify with something else, like maybe you identify with your favorite devata, Mahalakshmi or Kali. So you are looking at the whole universe from their point of view. So that Samadhi is also great, but in Nirvikalpa there is no seed at all. There is only Brahman, there is no division. There are not even gods, there are no demons, nothing, no beings. So that is the highest that you can experience. So he apparently experienced that, and let us see if renunciation and great spiritual experiences make sense in the Dasa of Aries. What is special about Aries? First of all, for me Lagna Lord is there, good, but it doesn't really mean great spiritual experiences. Look at, first of all, a guru suddenly came to him. Is the 9th Lord or Bhratgarka aspecting Aries? Bhratgarka is Mercury. Is Mercury aspecting Moon? Aspecting Aries? Of course. Mercury is in Leo, he is aspecting Aries. So a guru can come during this Dasa. Now, what is the progress Lagna in this Dasa? Pardon me? Leo. Because that is the 5th house. Aries is the progress 9th house. So progress Lagna is Leo. Taking Leo as Lagna, what are the influences? The 12th house is extremely strong. Mars, Saturn and Ketu. 3 malefics including Ketu, the Moksha Karaka. Pardon me? Sorry, Rahu, I'm sorry. So Rahu, Ketu is in the other house. So Mars, Saturn and Rahu, the 3 malefic planets are in the 12th house. So 12th house is extremely strong. If you recall, when we did this in the case of Jayendra Saraswati Swamigal and also Chandrasekhara Saraswati Swamigal, they also had they had 3 planets or 3 planets in the 12th from the progress Lagna in the Dasha when they took renunciation. But both of them had Mercury. Mercury shows some forms of Devi, some sattvic or rajasic forms of the Divine Mother. But here the influence is malefic planets, very ugra sadhana. So he does extremely intense sadhana, unlike in the other case, where in the case of Chandrasekhara Saraswati Swamigal, the planets were Mercury, Sun and Jupiter. In the other case, I think Mercury, Ketu and somebody else. Sun. Mercury, Sun and Ketu, Mercury, Sun and Jupiter. These were the planets in the case of the Kanchi Swamis, the two Swamis. So Sun is there, son of Vedic knowledge and Dharmic knowledge, and Mercury was there, who shows Tripura Sundari or Sattvic forms of the mother. Whereas here, it's all Ugra Grahas. So the sadhana is extremely intense. And Saturn and Rahu are there, two Vayu Grahas. So some sadhana involving pranayamas, Raja Yoga is also possible. Saturn shows Raja Yoga, the path of Vayu. See, you have 4 different paths spiritually. One is, Sri Krishna teaches all these in Gita, Bhagavad Gita. All are valid paths. Gnana Yoga. Gnana Yoga is basically the path of Vedanta, like Ramana Maharshi. He was basically a Gnana Yogi. You think, who am I? Is this real? What is real? You keep on removing these layers of onion, like I said earlier, you realize the self. So that is Gnana Yoga. That is shown by the fire element. Gnana Yoga is essentially fire. So when the fire is strong, you can expect Gnana Yoga. The disadvantage of Gnana Yoga is, it is risky from the point of view that if there are a lot of karmas pulling you down, if you are not really ready, if you are not an already purified soul, not fully pure but almost purified soul, you will not make much progress with it, because there are so many karmas that are pulling you down. Just by analyzing and thinking, you will not reach the truth. So this is for somebody who has already purified himself in fire very heavily. So this path is for such people. And the other path is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is shown by, can you guess which element?
Mercury.
Yeah, Mercury. So earth element. So you are actually, you don't say this world is Maya, this body is Maya, you don't say that. You just say, well, all the form that is there, it is not, maybe it is Maya, but it is also Brahman. Or whoever your favorite devata is. If you like Narayana, you say all this is Narayana. Or if you like Shiva, you say all this is Shiva. And you serve Shiva by serving all these forms. If there is an animal in trouble, go and serve the animal. If there is a person in trouble, you go and serve the person. So while you do this, you basically get accustomed to seeing the highest, the Brahman, in all, with a form, even with a form. So you realize the true nature. So when you do it without any selfishness, you will lose yourself completely. Your self will completely melt one day, and then you really see Krishna or Shiva in all beings. So this is the path of karma, where you actually act and serve people. So this is the path of Bhutatva. And then Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the path of Jala. Bhakti is, you melt in devotion to some god. You only want to see that god. You say, Mahalakshmi, when will you come and show yourself in front of me? Or Kali, when will you come and show yourself in front of me? Or Sri Krishna, when will you come? I want to see you. Nothing matters to you in life. You just single-mindedly devote yourself to that devata. You want to see that devata, and you say that the whole universe is emanating from that devata. That devata is equivalent to Brahman, and you basically devote yourself to that devata. So this is Jala Tattva. Pardon me? Yeah, Venus. Venus is Jala, of course. Moon and Venus show this path. Sun and Mars. Yeah. So these are the paths. And the fourth path is Raja Yoga. In Raja Yoga, you basically use the Vayu, use the breath. You see, you don't really need an idol in front of you to worship. You don't need people. You don't need a farm. You don't need anything. You just, when you breathe the air, you just see Brahman in the air. You just say, I'm just the air. You just lose consciousness of your body eventually, and that way also you can reach the highest. So that path is shown by Vayu, the Vayu Tattva. And of course Akasha, what is it? It doesn't specifically have a path associated with it, because the yoga itself is Akasha. Basically communion with the divinity, communion with the highest. itself is shown by Akash Tattva. And then in addition, when Bhu, Jala, Agni and Vayu are combining, it is through one of these four paths: Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga and Raj Yoga. And the disadvantage of Raj Yoga, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say, he taught Raj Yoga to some of his students, he had 12 best disciples. To some of them he taught Raj Yoga, but he told them, don't teach it to anybody. Of course, Vivekananda did teach it to some people, and once actually he almost passed, he basically lost his consciousness while doing that. Even somebody of his stature, according to Ramakrishna, he was a Maharishi. Vivekananda was a Maharishi in one of the previous slides. And even he lost his consciousness while doing that. That shows the risk of it, because even Vivekananda says the same thing. The disadvantage of these practices in Kali Yuga is the air you breathe itself is so impure. So when you see divinity in the air and the air itself is impure, obviously there are problems. So first you should purify whatever you are using. If you suppose you are using an idol and you see God in that idol and you just keep worshipping God in that particular idol, then the idol may have impurity. Somebody may have designed it at a bad time, at a bad muhurta, or somebody while sculpting the idol may have had bad thoughts in the mind. All those become impurities in that particular idol. So when you call the God to come and, when you invoke the God to come and sit in that idol and accept your offerings, whether they are mantras or whether they are flowers or whatever they are, there is going to be some problem in making that happen. Similarly, when you call God into your breath, there is going to be some problem, because the air you are breathing is so impure. For this reason, Vimalananda, Swami Vimalananda, the person whose student Robert Svoboda wrote these books, Aghora, Kundalini, those three parts of the Aghora series, that is why he says, he very strongly says, Homam is the best approach in Kali Yuga. And that is what I also advocate in my website. That is why I am spreading Mahaganapati Homam. The thing is, all other elements can be corrupted in the Kali Yuga, but fire can never be corrupted. Fire itself is the purest and it purifies. Just as, let me give an analogy. Suppose I sit next to Seshu, I am spending all my time with Seshu. I will imbibe some characteristics of Seshu. Or if I am with a king, the king inside me becomes stronger. If I am with a Vilasa Purusha, somebody who is basically enjoying life, there is somebody inside me who wants to enjoy life too. There are various beings within you. So the Venus within me will become stronger eventually. Like that, when you are spending a lot of time near a fire, worshipping fire, the fire inside you becomes stronger. And the nature of fire is to burn, and of course not just burn, but to purify. So eventually you become purer. Anyway, I am deviating. So the thing is, he basically, here the planets in question are Saturn and Rahu, two Vaitattva planets. So the path of Raj Yoga was also used by him. He basically did some Raj Yoga, and actually he wrote a really nice book on Raj Yoga, not because he wanted to spread it. He clearly said, this is very dangerous in this yoga unless you have a really qualified master guiding you. But I want to basically write this book so that misconceptions are clear. Otherwise, all kinds of nonsense is basically passing off as knowledge. So I want to basically put down what is genuine. So he wrote a book on Raj Yoga and Kundalini. So that book may be, if you are interested in this path, that is a good resource. So coming back to astrology, so Mars, Saturn and Rahu being in the 12th house accentuates the 12th house. So sannyasa during this period and also intense sadhana is a possibility. In addition, well, Rahu is a materialistic planet, that is true. But when he is in the 12th house, he is not a materialistic planet. If he is in the 3rd house or 6th house or 11th house, he wants to give material success. But 12th house is not the house of material success. 12th house from Lagna. So it is not really, he doesn't really become an obstacle. And moreover, in the natal chart, in the natal chart, Saturn and Rahu are the 8th lords of sadhana. And they happen to be in the 12th house of Moksha Sthana from the Dasa Lagna. Yes.
Now, being in 12th house, we actually will take him past beyond the boundaries in spirituality.
Right. Rahu and Ketu are very vital to experiencing experiencing that which is beyond form, experiencing that which is beyond anything that manifests. So Rahu and Ketu in 12th is actually very auspicious. Yes, the agendas of the planets is also important. I wouldn't say more important, but that is also important. If a planet is in the 12th house from Dasa sign, and if his agenda is something else, he may not work towards the 12th house so strongly. Pardon me? Yeah, from Dasa Lagna he is the 7th lord. But if you see the natal chart, he is the 8th lord of Sadhana. But the thing is, in the Dasa Lagna, from the Dasa Lagna, if you see Saturn and Rahu, they are the 7th lords in the 12th house. What is the meaning of 7th lord being in the 12th house? Loss of desires. Basically, letting the desires go, and also letting the 7th house is also the house of spouse, etc. So basically, renouncing relationship, renouncing marriage, renouncing sex, etc. All those can also be shown by the 7th lord being in the 12th house.
So when you take the characteristics of the planet from Dasa Lagna, and when you take
See, when you analyze the chart, just take the Dasa Lagna as Lagna and analyze the chart. But what I am saying is, to see whether a particular combination that you see is really a strong combination, you can see what is the agenda of the planets from the natal chart. If you, for example, see from the Dasa Lagna a big Rajyoga in the 10th house, so you may say this person not only he experiences something spiritually, but he does some big karma, like maybe he establishes a big ashram or something, or a big society like he did, Divine Life Society. So you want to see that kind of things. Suppose there is a big conglomeration in the 10th house from Dasa Lagna, and if one of them happens to be the 9th lord or 10th lord from the natal Lagna also, it basically strengthens the combination, because he has the agenda to establish something, and he is showing establishing something in this Dasa, so the result will be stronger, right? Now let us see the Dasa Pravesha Chakra of this interesting Dasa. How is the Dasa Pravesha Chakra? Leo, if you take as Lagna, what are the combinations on it? There are 5 planets in it. There is Sun, Moon, Rahu, Sun, Moon, Mars, Rahu and Venus. Is this a yoga? Well, there will be several yogas in a case like this, but there is a specific yoga. This is a specific yoga called Pravrajya Yoga or Parivraj Yoga. If the 10th lord is in a quadrant along with 4 other planets, it shows a sannyasi. If the 10th lord is in a quadrant with 4 other planets, it shows a sannyasi. And actually some people even say 4 or more planets in a quadrant makes one a sannyasi, makes one a renunciate. Some people say that also. So here not 4 but 5 planets are in Lagna, which show, first of all, apart from yogas, even if you don't know Parivrajya Yoga, the fact that there are so many planets, 5 planets in Lagna, including the 12th lord, including Lagna lord, including Rahu, including Yokarka, Dharma lord, all these things basically show some big things happening in this Dasa. Even if you do very superficial astrology, you can say such a strong Lagna, strong or not, such an active Lagna with so much happening, shows some big epoch-making events in this particular Dasa. And now specifically this is Pravrajya Yoga. And you have 12th house planets in the natal chart also from the Dasa Lagna. So you can say he becomes a sannyasi. So actually I would say, had this person come to you before, you could have actually predicted that there is a very good chance of him becoming a sannyasi. The case is very strong. Now, I said in the last class, I may not have said, I think I said, that I have noticed, of course, you can't find lot of examples of this. You will find very few examples. But I said that when people experience Nirvikalpa Samadhi, I have seen that sun and slash or moon, sun and moon or sun or moon is afflicted by Ketu on Lagna axis in the Dasa Pravesha of the Durgasa. I have seen that in a couple of charts, in a few charts. Yeah, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa also we have seen in the seminar. And there is one more chart which I can't basically, the data I don't have permission to reveal. So like I said, you can't find lot of examples. So I had 3 examples in which I could basically see that combination. So they experienced the highest state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi in the Dasa, whose Dasa Pravesha Chakra had Sun, Moon, Rahu, Ketu combination on the Lagna axis. And we saw that Ramakrishna Paramahamsa also had this combination in the Dasha when Totapuri came to him and took him to Nirvikalpa. And he claimed that not he, but his website claimed that he experienced Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And whether that is true or not, the fact that Sun and Moon are being eclipsed in the Lagna can show basically mind reaching these high states where mind becomes a no mind. In Vasishtha's word, mind becoming a no mind. Mind being basically being eclipsed. Okay. So let us I will do some more example charts in the next class, but what I want to do now is actually we have a lot of interesting charts. We will see them we'll take up another couple of charts in the next class. I want to do one of you guys. Let me restart. Meanwhile I restart, you decide whose chart first. Okay, ladies first. We'll do, she said ladies first, so we'll see. Okay, data, do you have her chart? You think so?
If you can look at the files, maybe I have latest one.
Okay, I will let you try. ఏం తెలుసు ఆవిడ డేటా తెలియదా ఆవిడకి ఓన్లీ యూ ఆర్ లైక్ దట్ యా ఐ రీస్టార్టెడ్ ఓన్లీ యూ ఆర్ లైక్ దట్ యూ ఫర్గెట్ వేర్ యువర్ జూపిటర్ ఈజ్ యువర్ సాటర్న్ ఈజ్
I'm even forgetting my ownership of my data. I'm going
half the way okay, now she has Jupiter in Lagna.
Data engineering?
This is the right data? Okay, the data is, we are going to see the chart of Vijaya. The data is 1965 November 11 7:57 PM Indian Standard Time, 5 hours 30 minutes east of GMT. Maruteru, 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 81 degrees 44 minutes east, 16 degrees 38 minutes north in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, India. Okay, now the Lagna should be at 3 degrees 21 minutes in Gemini, and Moon should be at 26 degrees 41 minutes Taurus. Moon with Rahu. Okay. Now let us see the Drugdasha. What is the Drugdasha? What are the Drugdashas running? Do you have any specific questions while we see Drugdasha? You just want to know how your future is. Yeah. Okay. Good. So she wants her Drugdasha to be analyzed. She doesn't have any specific questions. She wants to see how her Drugdasha is. What is the guess of the class about the future. Okay. Who is the Atmakarka? Atmakarka is Moon. Bhratakarka is Mercury. Okay.
Yeah, actually, Rahu, Moon, Ketu, Mercury.
Rahu, Moon? Yeah, Rahu, Moon, Ketu, Mercury are on that axis, right? On the 12th house axis. Okay. Now, what is the Dasha running right now? The Dasha running right now since 2003 November till 2012 November. By the way, for those of you who are listening to this audio, I will very soon release a software that does this computation. But if you go through the audio of the seminar, you can actually find this. Or if you go through the audio of the last class where I described the calculation again, this is actually extremely simple to calculate manually. You can just calculate this in like 20 seconds manually. So this is very easy. And for Dasha Pravesh Chakra, you can just go to Tajaka chart of the corresponding year and then look at the Tajaka chart from the Dasha Lagna. So it's very easy. Even with existing Jyohora you can manage, but I will release a Jyohora that does this Drugdasha. And also if you want a detailed description of the calculations, judgment, etc. and some examples, you can read Jyotish Digest, which is yet to come, of the October 2007 issue, October to December issue. So that issue will have an article on Drugdasha. Pardon me? Okay. Why? that means you are using the old Dasa, the SJC Dasa. You are not using Parasara Dasa. If you use the special Jehora that I gave you guys at the seminar, then you will get the same calculation. Now they match? Okay, I'll let you work on it. They should match. They should match because you have the same software. Any questions?
We can get you.
What do you mean?
He didn't have it because he wasn't at the conference. He didn't get this new Dasa.
He was at the conference, but not on that day. Maybe.
I don't have that. I didn't bring it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
We can go on.
Okay. You guys work it out. So she is running Sagittarius Dasha from November 2003 till 2012 November. Now, first let us analyze based on the natal chart. How is it? What are the influences on Sagittarius? For me? It is the 7th house, right? 8th house from Moon. That is what he means. Moon is strong. Exalted and Rahu.
No, what are we analyzing now? We are analyzing just a natal chart or the
Yeah, just a natal chart, Durgasa. So how do you analyze? What are the influences on Sagittarius? The influences are that of Venus and Mars, right? Okay. They are giving what? Are they giving any yogas? They are giving Dhimanta Yoga. Venus is the 5th lord and Mars is the 6th lord. So they are together and aspecting Lagna. So there is an association between Lagna, 5th and 6th through Venus and Mars. And of course they are aspecting Lagna lord, 7th lord, Jupiter in Lagna too. So there is a Dhimanta Yoga. So the Drugdasha is activating the Dhimanta Yoga. That's it. Nothing much. But what is of interest is to see the 5th house from Lagna. 5th house from Dasha sign as the Lagna. So Sagittarius, if you take the 5th from there, it is Aries. So take Aries as Lagna and analyze the chart. How is the chart? The 9th house is 8th and 9th houses are strong. 8th house contains 8th lord Ketu along with Mercury. So 8th house is the house of sadhana, the hard work that you put in for spiritual progress. And Ketu is there, that is always beneficial. Ketu is the Karaka of moksha. So the fact that Mercury and Ketu are there suggests that this period will increase the spiritual sadhana of the person. Sadhana means it can be doing a ritual, doing a puja, doing a mantra or just meditating. It is basically spending some time or energy trying to reach God, thinking of God, thinking of that goal. It can be mental also. Like I said, the Karma Yoga, I said, it doesn't have to be Bhakti Yoga. There is Karma Yoga, there is Jnana Yoga. So you don't have to do any puja. You just keep thinking. If you read some Vedanta book like Yoga Vasishtham or some Ramana Maharshi's teachings, and if you think this is all Maya, and if you try to cultivate the sense of detachment basically, because at the end of it, I said the height of the spiritual experience is to experience the true self, which will happen only when all the fake selves are basically shut off, all these layers, which comes only with detachment from one thing, then detachment from another thing, then detachment from one more thing. So if you are cultivating the detachment just through vichara meaning just thought, that is also 8th house, that is also sadhana. Or you help lot of people. There are a lot of people who need help. You think Manav Seva is Madhav Seva, serving man is serving God, or serving animals is serving God, all is God. You serve people, or you serve your husband or your children without any selfishness, and you cultivate some detachment while doing that, and also some devotion to other beings and see God, that is also sadhana. Or you do a particular puja, every day you spend, let's say, half hour doing a particular mantra, that is also sadhana. Or you spend half hour doing some pranayam or some Raj Yoga technique, that is also sadhana. So sadhana is not restricted to one thing, it can be anything, but it is an effort directed at finding God.
Mercury and Ketu being there, can you specifically say that what kind of
That was my question.
Okay,
Can we see from planet?
right. That is actually not foolproof. You don't have any foolproof principles. But what you can say is Mercury. What is the, out of the 4 yogas that I mentioned, which is the yoga shown by Mercury? Mercury is Karma Yoga. And Ketu is a planet of, is basically a fairy planet. He is actually not really, he doesn't have any form, but if you must give one of the tattvas, he is basically a fairy planet. And fire means Jnana. So some knowledge. And Mercury shows Artha. Mercury shows Bhu. So Karma. So basically more Karma Yoga, more service and more activities and serving through actions. So that is what Mercury suggests. And how about, apart from the 8th house, the 9th is also very strong. The Lagna Lord and the 7th Lord Venus are in the 9th house. And 9th house is the house of the Lagna from Aries. The Lagna Lord Mars and the 7th Lord Venus are together in the 9th house. This is a Raj Yoga between them. Lagna Lord and 7th Lord together is a Raj Yoga, right? So, Lagna, so what does it show? 7th house is the house of relationships. Of course, not necessarily relationship with anybody, but in the spiritual pursuit. And in the 9th house means religion. So, Lagna Lord and 7th Lord in the 9th house, giving a Raj Yoga means, actually apart from serving people etc. that I mentioned earlier, the sadhana of service shown by Mercury and Ketu, there will also be dealing with some people and some following dharma. Basically, strong 9th house shows following doing dharmic activities. And 7th house shows friends are enemies, but other people. 7th is other people. Yeah. Well, I'm not saying they are enemies, but other people. Basically, it shows, and Lagna Lord and 7th Lord being together means being outgoing and spending more time with other people, basically, coming together with others for dharmic activities.
She is definitely more outgoing now than 2 years back.
Mm-hmm. Fifth Lord? Yeah? Right. What does it show? You want to, what is 5th house? What does 5th house show? 5th house is the house of devotion. Is debilitation weak or strong? Exaltation is basically, I said, a state akin to excitement, whereas debilitation is a state akin to humility, basically. So when it comes to D20 or spiritual matters, the debilitated planet can actually show humility. So when it comes to bhakti, following the bhakti marga, there can be some humility, basically. So some cultivation of humility. It's not a bad combination at all. Fifth Lord in a Kendra in debilitation is not a bad combination. Yeah. Sun is the Karaka, pardon me? Sun is the planet of ego, basically. And he is aspecting Lagna by Grahadrishti. So that can actually show, Sun in the 7th house can show more outgoing, more authoritative nature with other people. People who have Sun in the 7th house, they are basically authoritative with people, they command people. But that Sun is debilitated, so it can show actually some withdrawal in the natural, in the tendency, and it can actually show humility. So it's not really a bad combination. The only thing is, the 4th Lord is showing some confusion. The 4th Lord Moon, though he is exalted, he is with Rahu, Padaka Lord Rahu. So what is 4th house? Yes.
No, but from the spiritual point of view, Rahu Ketu, Moon and Rahu Ketu axis also is good.
Excellent. Good point. But let me first finish the first stream of thought, then we'll pick up yours. So 4th Lord shows the direction, the spiritual direction in your pursuit. And Rahu being there means Rahu eclipses Moon. So the direction and sense of well-being, sense of happiness, sense of, okay, I have the right way now, that is disturbed a little bit by Rahu. But then, like he said, Rahu actually goes beyond. And Rahu and Ketu are good for spiritual progress. So there is some disturbance in the spiritual direction of the person, but at the end there is a big expansion of the spiritual direction of the person. So that is what I would say based on the 4th Lord Moon in exaltation with Rahu. And 9th Lord, even though he is in Manakarka Sthana, he is aspecting 9th. 9th Lord aspecting 9th is good. It shows strong dharma. 9th is extremely strong. So it shows a very strong dharma during this time. But how is the next dasha? Actually, how is the dasha pravesha? We haven't seen that at all. Oops, what happened? How is the dasha pravesha chakra? Whoa. Okay, interesting. So,
Is this a question? Looking at Dasa Pravesha,
yeah.
Between the natal and the Dasa Pravesha, what is the exact difference that we are going to see? Because both are going to correlate. Because Dasa Pravesha, we are going to take that period as the life of the entity. And
This is the birth of the dasha, right?
birth of the Dasa, and we are seeing that entity.
Right.
So, if that matches with the natal, then it's more a...
Whichever factors are matching between the two,
they are more
those results we can be more confident of. And factors which are only showing up in one chart and not in the other, we are not so confident to make predictions on those. Just confirmation basically. So there are certain aspects that are, there are certain aspects in the natal chart that are basically wanting to be fulfilled during this dasha. And out of those, when the dasha started, certain factors are more conducive.
So, before we give a reading on anything, we should look at both before we say.
If you can look at both, that is excellent. It is definitely a good idea, if you can. So, in this dasha, the 8th house is again strong. If you look at Aries as Lagna, Aries contains Rahu, and the 8th house has Venus and Mercury. 7th and 8th lords are exchanging, Venus and Ketu. So the same yoga between Venus and Ketu that was there associated with the 8th house in the... Oh, actually, no, that was with Mercury. I'm confused. Okay. So basically, there is an interesting combination in the 8th house. And what about the 9th house now? Is this strong here also? Well, it's aspected by Saturn and Moon, which is not really, doesn't really show a lot of dharmic activities. But the interesting thing is, the 9th Lord Jupiter is in 5th house of Purva and he is basically in a trine from the 9th house. So whenever 9th Lord is in a trine, is in the 9th or 1st or 5th, it is very auspicious for the 9th house. He is basically in the 9th house from 9th house, protecting the 9th house. So dharmic activities will increase, is what we said earlier, that basically we can still say that. And we can definitely say Venus and Mercury are in the 8th house. Venus shows bhakti and Mercury shows, like we said, the karma yoga. So karma and bhakti basically are
exchanging, right? Venus and Ketu are exchanged.
Right.
So actually, the Ketu and Mercury, we should see, right?
So it is actually repeating whatever is in the natal chart. So there is some karma along with some understanding, some subtler understanding that comes with the internal jnana. So some detached karma will be quite possible during this dasha. So this is an interesting dasha.
We see exchanging Rahu, Mars.
Pardon me?
She also has Rahu Ketu on the Lagna axis with Sun, so she has half musical.
Actually, I will humbly request you. It was just an observation based on 3 charts that I made. It may or may not be, but the thing is, if Sun and Moon are afflicted by Rahu and Ketu on the Lagna axis, it may show some experiences.
No, but it's a good combination.
It's a good combination based on my limited research. But definitely don't predict miracle samadhi. I'm not saying she is incapable of that. It's a very rare thing. Even great Swamijis, people who are in charge of big mathas, they would not have experienced Nirvikalpa Samadhi. It is something very, very rare. Only a really great Rishi, if he comes back, or an Avatara, may experience. Even they are not guaranteed. So it's not a normal thing. So we should not be predicting it.
And we see the exchange of planets of Rahu, Mars,
In the natal chart? Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure what to see from it. Of course, you can see.
Strong, that means that Dasha means
Yeah,
Dasha
first in the beginning, basically, it is as though Rahu is in Lagna, Badhaka Lord Rahu is in Lagna, which is not so auspicious. It can even show some doubting, etc. in religious matters, because Badhaka Lord shows all these obstacles to the spiritual path. And that too, it is Rahu. So, some suspicion, some questioning is possible in the Rahu period. But when the Parivartana gives its result, it is as though Mars is in Lagna. And Mars being in Lagna is Vrichika Yoga. Then very strong determined pursuit of spirituality. So overall, it seems like this is an interesting Dasa. This is a Dasa when interesting things happen. But how is the next Dasa? Virgo. How is Virgo?
No, fifth, right?
Capricorn is the Lagna, right? Taking Capricorn as Lagna for the Virgo Mahadasha, what are the influences we see? Fourth and fifth? Yeah, fourth and fifth lord are in the 12th house. So there is a nice yoga between them. Okay, what else? What?
eighth lord,
It doesn't really. For me? Yeah, 12th lord Jupiter is aspecting 12th house. Earlier 9th house was strong because of Jupiter's influence. Now it is the 12th house. So 12th lord is aspecting 12th house, and the 4th and 5th lords, basically Yokarka Venus is there. So 12th house is becoming strong. Compared to earlier, compared to the previous Dasha, in this Dasha 12th house becomes strong. Of course, if 12th house is strong, you shouldn't just go ahead and predict renunciation, because everybody gets some Dasha when 12th house becomes strong. And not everybody. In the case of Chandrasekhar Saraswati, Jayendra Saraswati and Swami Shivananda, exactly during that Dasha they renounced. You can't predict that in every chart, but the thing is, some detachment will develop during that time definitely. So there will be more detachment than there is now. So this Dasha will develop internal detachment, we can say. Because this is the real goal. 8th house being strong, 9th house being strong is good. Because 9th house being strong means you do religious activities. The 8th house being strong in a particular Dasha means you do some sadhana. You put in some effort. But it is the 12th house that needs to be strong for you to actually make some real progress and get some level of detachment. So this is an interesting Dasha. But how is the Dasha Pravesha Chakra actually cooperating, or is it creating a problem? I already opened, right? Okay, you are right. I already opened it. So in the Dasha Pravesha Chakra, how are things? The 12th house is containing Mars. That's not really strong. But what? How is the 12th Lord? How is the 12th Lord? He is with Ketu, he is in the 5th house. So Jupiter being in 5th house is very, very good. It's the house of Purpunya. And Jupiter, if he is basically put in the place of Purpunya, he will basically take full advantage of the Purpunya. So 12th Lord with Ketu. Ketu is the Karaka of 12th. So 12th Lord and 12th Karaka being together is very auspicious. So 12th house basically is being strong even here. And interestingly, there is a Grahamalika from the 9th house to 12th house. So it does seem very interesting. So my feeling is, until 2012 there will be some slow progress, some effort, etc. And after 2012, in the next coming 9 years, there will actually be more inner progress. Until then, it is basically all the effort you have to basically put in effort. But internally experiencing the detachment, from that point of view, the real progress will start after 2012. That is my take. Any other thoughts that you want to share?
We don't see the which deities they will be person would be worshipping.
See, Durgdasha, I haven't really done any study on how to see deities from Durgdasha. This is just spiritual progress, the path of spiritual progress. Okay.
Because Ketu, Mercury will not Ketu, that means
Ketu Mercury.
Like in 8th house.
Yeah.
That's almost
We only said sadhana, what kind of sadhana? Mercury like sadhana. So, Bhutatva like sadhana. So, that's all we can say. We can't really say, so pray to Mercury, so pray to Vishnu. We can't really say based on Dasa like that. Okay. Any other questions? Any other points? You want to see the current Antardasa just for curiosity, or previous Antardasa? Until from November 2006 till 2007, she ran Aries Antardasa. And Antardasas are starting from Mahadasa itself. So in Aries Mahadasa, you take Leo as Lagna, right? Yeah, nothing really interesting. 5th and 10th are 4th, 5th and 10th are strong. And if you look at the entry chart also, you can't really, 3rd house is strong, showing a lot of determination, etc. But nothing really, well, actually Saturn and Ketu are in Lagna. That is good. But let us see the next one. Cancer Dasha. What is the Dasha Lagna? Scorpio is the Lagna. So if you take Scorpio as Lagna, Lagna has Jupiter. What does it show? Lagna has Jupiter, and Jupiter shows basically intelligence, wisdom, etc. And if you look, I am looking at both. Take the natal chart as well as Dasa Pravesh Chakra. In natal chart, if you take Scorpio as Lagna, Mercury and Ketu are in Lagna. So it shows, Ketu being in Lagna shows increase of the spirituality. And here Jupiter is in Lagna. That shows more wisdom. But here you see in the Dasa Pravesh Chakra, you see excellent yogas in the 9th and 10th houses. You have Saturn, Venus, Ketu in 10th, Sun, Moon and Mercury in the 9th house. So there are good yogas in the 9th and 10th houses showing lot of dharmic activities and karmas. For me? Yeah, there is dharma karma. What? No, he is right. 9th Lord and 10th Lord are together in the 9th house. See, just because Seshu sometimes says silly things, don't assume that he is silly always. Sometimes he very quickly comes to the right conclusion.
The 10th Lord in the 9th house. 9th Lord in 10th house.
No, 9th and 10th Lord being together in 9th is also Dharma Adipati. Being actually together anywhere. Right. So there is Dharma Karma Adipati Yoga. Yeshu is so happy laughing now.
What?
Because for a change you can laugh at somebody else. Okay. So, but the thing is, do you see any such combinations in the natal chart? The 12th Lord is in Manakarka, the 10th Lord from Scorpio is in Manakarka Sthana in debility. So it doesn't really, the 9th Lord is in 7th house with Rahu. Maybe it shows some dharmic activities along with other people. But it doesn't really show big karmas, etc. that we see in the Dasa Pravesh. This is what I meant earlier. You just confirm. You don't just go by one of the parameters. You basically combine both of them. Still, some events may happen, but you can't really predict something strong, confidently. In order to predict something confidently, you have to look at both the influences. But overall, it does seem like the current Dasha as well as the next Dasha are eventful from the point of view of spiritual progress. And my feeling is from 2012 to 2021, she will make considerable progress in her spiritual pursuit. Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Who wants to go next? I don't know if we can do fully, but we will start and do some Dasha level analysis at least, and then maybe take up. Huh? Yeah. Time is 8:18, so another 10-15 minutes. We'll take one more chart. Whose chart? You guys decide. I won't pick. For me, I'll do all of you eventually. Today or next class. Whoever wants now, we'll do that one. Seshus. Huh?
Yeah, he has to go.
Okay, actually he has to go. So we'll close for today. We'll take some more charts in the next class. Okay. So with that I end. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.